So if someone came up to you and told you that they could heal a sick pet using, well, using absolutely nothing but energy.
I mean, honestly, I would probably just roll my eyes.
Right, exactly. We all would. I know I definitely would.
Yeah.
We are just so conditioned from birth to look for the pill, or the surgery.
Yeah, the tangible, measurable intervention.
Exactly. But what if that same person claimed they could not only heal a dying animal through energy, but they could actually teach you to do the exact same thing in your own living room?
And with just a few minutes of practice a day, right? That is a bold claim.
Is a massive claim. And today, we are doing a deep dive into some truly fascinating source material that challenges all of those standard analytical defenses we have.
It really triggers every modern defense mechanism we possess.
Yeah.
Because we are taught that healing is this strictly hierarchical process managed by huge institutions, right?
Yeah, totally. Not some invisible force that you generate by doing a daily habit. So let's get right into it. We're looking at a transcript and a ton of background material from a practitioner named Osman. And he is widely known online as the Blind Muslim Yogi.
Which is a fascinating title in itself.
It is, and actually a really crucial note on his background right up front, because it frames this entire discussion. Osman became permanently blind quite recently, actually, in May of 2023.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you will hear us referencing his visual descriptions of the world today. And that is simply because he had normal eyesight for his entire life prior to that date.
Ah, I see. So he's drawing on decades of visual memory to explain these invisible, energetic concepts.
Exactly. So let's lay out his specific claims because they're not small. He states that he is a bioenergy healer operating on a master level.
A master level.
Right. And he possesses what he calls telepathic healing capabilities, which he says are grounded in the principles of quantum entanglement.
Which is a whole other rabbit hole we are definitely going to get into.
Oh, for sure. And his specialty, which is wild, is critical care, recovery, and terminal illnesses.
And he backs these massive claims up with his own personal history, right? He asserts that he has been practicing healing, yoga, and meditation at an advanced level for 50 years.
50 years.
50 years. And he attained his first samadhi experience, which is, for those who don't know, a state of profound meditative consciousness. He hit that state at the age of 19.
At 19, that's just incredible. He's also studied extensively across the Far East, the Middle East, and the West.
He's pulled from everywhere.
Yeah. But before we get into the wild stories, and we have stories about plants completely defying biology and tonemal dogs making miraculous recoveries, we need to lay down a really explicit boundary that Osman himself sets.
This is so important.
It really is. Osman makes it abundantly clear that his services are entirely complementary. They are absolutely not a replacement for the licensed medical field.
Right. He is not telling you to throw away your medication.
Not at all. His goal is to enhance whatever is lacking in traditional medicine. It's a critical distinction, I think, that immediately separates him from a lot of the dangerous fringes of the alternative wellness space.
Yeah. It acknowledges the biological reality of illness and the absolute necessity of the medical establishment. He's not fighting doctors. He's trying to work alongside that reality.
Exactly. So with that framework in place, let's jump straight into the deep end. In the source material, Osman is asked a really direct question. Can energy healing work on animals?
And his answer is an unequivocal 100% yes.
Right, but then he pushes the boundary even further. He doesn't just stop at animals. He includes flora. He includes plants.
Which completely shifts the paradigm.
It really does. He tells this story about a gifted houseplant he received. And when he got it, it was really struggling. It had barely 3 leaves.
Basically on its way out.
Yeah. And according to Osman, simply through the influence of his energetic presence, which is a presence he maintains through intense daily practice, this plant just exploded in growth.
Just from being in the same room?
Yeah. It jumped from 3 leaves to over 20 leaves in just 3 to 4 months.
He describes it as growing unrealistically fast. And I think we really need to pause here and look at the biological and the philosophical implications of a houseplant responding to human energy.
Let's do it.
Because when skeptics analyze human holistic medicine, their primary weapon, the thing they always go to, is the placebo effect.
Oh, absolutely. The idea that if you simply believe a sugar pill is a real drug, your brain will literally synthesize the chemicals to heal your body.
Yes. And the placebo effect is incredibly powerful. Dr. Aaliyah Crum talked extensively about this on the Huberman Lab podcast,
Oh,
right?
I remember that one.
Yeah, she detailed exactly how our mindset and our belief systems physically alter our physiology. And so skeptics use this exact mechanism to dismiss energy healers.
They argue the healer isn't actually doing anything energetic.
Exactly. They say the healer is just acting as a really highly theatrical trigger for the patient's own internal placebo response.
But a houseplant completely ruins that entire skeptical argument.
It shatters it.
Because a plant does not have a belief system. It doesn't have a prefrontal cortex to sit there and anticipate healing.
It doesn't know that Osman has been meditating for 50 years.
Right. If that plant grew at an accelerated rate, purely because it was sitting in his living room, we are completely bypassing the psychological placebo effect.
We are entering the realm of a mechanical biological interaction.
So to understand the mechanics of what Osman is claiming here, we really have to look outside traditional textbook biology.
Yeah, my mind goes straight to that famous Joe Rogan Experience episode with Paul Stamets.
Oh, the mushroom guy.
Yes, the one where they discuss the intelligence of mycelium networks beneath the forest floor. Stamets argues that the natural world is vastly more perceptive and communicative than we give it credit for.
Yeah, he talks about how they share resources.
Exactly. If a fungal network can map a forest and distribute nutrients based on environmental stress, it is entirely plausible that a plant possesses sensory apparatuses capable of detecting human bioelectromagnetic fields.
I see the parallel you're making there, but let's push that even further. Are we basically saying the human body acts like a localized sun?
Kind of.
Because it reminds me of Paramahansa Yogananda's book, Autobiography of a Yogi.
Yay.
He frequently references this idea that all matter is essentially just condensed energy,
Yes.
and that a highly trained mind can manipulate that energy. So is Osman claiming his physical body is broadcasting an actual nutrient to this plant?
I think it's more accurate to say he's claiming his body is broadcasting an organizing frequency.
An organizing frequency. Okay, unpack that for me.
So in physics, there's this concept called morphic resonance. It's heavily championed by Rupert Sheldrake, who actually also had a really fascinating breakdown of this on Rogan's podcast a while back.
Okay, what does Sheldrake say?
Sheldrake suggests there are these invisible organizing fields that literally shape the development of biological forms. So if Osman is practicing yoga and meditation for, say, 8 to 10 hours a day, which he does, he is potentially generating an incredibly coherent bioenergetic field. The plant isn't believing in the energy. Its cellular structure is simply aligning with a highly ordered frequency. It's much like iron filings snapping into alignment when you put a magnet near them.
I love that magnet analogy.
Yeah.
But I still struggle with the daily application for the average person listening to this deep dive. I mean, we aren't doing 10 hours of yoga a day.
No, definitely not.
But if Osman's premise holds water, it means the energy we bring into our own homes is an actual, tangible environmental factor.
It's basically a climate.
Yeah. So your stress from work, your anxiety, is that acting as a subtle toxic frequency to your own pets and plants?
It forces a really radical level of accountability. It's funny, the Mel Robbins podcast often touches on this from a purely psychological angle.
Yeah, she talks a lot about regulation.
Right. Her episodes on nervous system regulation discuss how an unregulated, anxious parent directly dysregulates the nervous system of their child just by being in the room. Osman is essentially taking that psychological concept and making it a biophysical law. Your internal state is broadcasting, period. It is either nourishing the life around you or it's starving it.
That is honestly a terrifying level of accountability.
Okay.
And it leads us directly into what I think is the most challenging part of the source material.
The dog.
The dog. We move from a houseplant to a very high-stakes literal life or death scenario with an animal. Osman shares this story of a student who came to him with a 13-year-old dog.
And for most breeds, 13 is ancient.
It really is. And the dog is severely ill. The local vet delivers the terminal diagnosis and tells the owner that euthanasia is the most humane option.
Which is a devastating but routine moment in veterinary medicine. The empirical data says the biological machine has failed.
Right, but the student refuses to accept it and turns to Osman for help. Now, this is the exact moment in the story where you expect the master to step in, wave his hands, and perform the miracle himself.
That's the classic guru trope.
But he doesn't. Osman explicitly tells her, quote, "It doesn't need my energy."
That is such a crucial pivot.
He relies entirely on the fact that he had taught her a specific, simple yoga and meditation protocol.
And we really need to emphasize the accessibility of this right now. Osman's mission is to encourage a scientific, result-based, simplified methodology drawn from ancient sciences.
He wants people to be able to use it.
Yes, he is actively trying to revive these lost techniques for current society. In fact, he offers a free 5-minute yoga and meditation program that is available for download directly on his website, yogawellness786.com.
Which is amazing. He doesn't gatekeep the foundational tools.
Yeah.
And just a quick note for the listeners, if you've heard about a $5 anxiety fix he used to offer, do not go looking for it. That promotion is over and it is no longer available.
Right, but the core 5-minute program is still free on his site.
Exactly. So he tells this student to apply what she learned from him. She uses this practice, which he knows was only about a 20-minute daily commitment, and she applies it directly to her dog.
Just 20 minutes a day.
Yeah. And according to Osman, the dog showed improvement from day one. And months later, the dog was reported as completely healthy and normal. Euthanasia was completely avoided.
We really have to unpack the profound pedagogical shift that is happening here. Osman is completely decentralizing the healing process.
Decentralizing it, how so?
Well, in ancient traditions, there is usually a very strict guru-healer dynamic, right? A master holds all the power. The student is just a passive recipient of the miracle.
Yeah, it's the classic kiss the ring model of spirituality.
Exactly. But by telling her the dog doesn't need his energy, Osman is defining this capability not as some divine anointing, but as a trainable biological muscle.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here for a second, because this is where my own skepticism really flares up.
Go for it.
Vets get it wrong.
Yeah.
Misdiagnoses happen every single day in clinics around the world. And spontaneous remission is a well-documented medical phenomenon where a disease just vanishes without any therapeutic intervention.
That's true.
So how do we know this 13-year-old dog didn't just have a natural biological bounce back? Why are we attributing the reversal of a terminal diagnosis to a novice owner doing 20 minutes of breathing exercises?
It is the absolute most vital question to ask. And to answer it, we really have to look at the timeline and the causality. If it were just a singular event, you could easily dismiss it as a statistical anomaly.
A fluke.
Right. But Osman isn't citing a one-off miracle here. He is citing an outcome produced by a repeatable protocol. When you look at the Huberman Lab episodes on respiration and heart rate variability, for instance.
Oh, Huberman talks about this constantly.
Or even the School of Greatness podcast, the episode where Lewis Howes interviews Wim Hof. The hard science is very clear. Specific breathing protocols allow humans to consciously access their own autonomic nervous system.
Yeah, Wim Hof proved that in a lab. They can suppress inflammatory responses and actually alter immune function.
Exactly.
Okay, I buy that Wim Hof can alter his own immune system. The leap here, the really big leap, is that the student altered the dog's immune system.
Yes, and this is exactly where we cross from modern neurobiology back into quantum biology. If the student is regulating her own nervous system into a state of profound coherence.
She is changing the electromagnetic field of her body.
Precisely. And the dog, which is biologically wired through evolution to be hyper-attuned to the owner's state, enters that field of coherence.
So the dog syncs up to her.
We see this discussed in the Diary of a CEO episode with Joe Dispenza, where he talks about healing through intention.
Oh man, Joe Dispenza's work on that is mind-blowing.
It is. Dispenza argues that a coherent heart and a highly focused mind can fundamentally alter the energy in a room, which directly impacts the biology of those within it.
Okay, so the student essentially acts as a localized pacemaker for the dog's failing biological rhythms. She stabilizes her own field, and the dog's biology syncs up to it, basically jump-starting its own natural healing mechanisms.
That's a great way to put it.
That makes it feel a lot less about shooting magic lasers from her hands, and much more about creating an optimal energetic climate for the dog's recovery.
It strips the cheap mysticism away entirely and replaces it with a rigorous, albeit invisible, physics.
But that creates an even bigger problem for my understanding of all this.
How so?
Because if a novice student practicing just 20 minutes a day for a few months can reverse a terminal diagnosis locally in her living room, what in the world is Osman capable of?
Oh, right.
I mean, he has been practicing for 50 years. He hit his first samadhi at 19. What is the upper limit of this technology, if we want to call it that?
Well, the upper limit, according to Osman himself, scales from the local directly to the non-local. He asserts that he has actual telepathic healing capabilities.
Telepathy.
Yes. He claims he can use the principles of quantum entanglement to send energy anywhere on the globe, specifically specializing in critical care and terminal illnesses.
I feel like the moment you say the word telepathy, half the audience instantly pictures a comic book character reading minds, like Professor X.
Yeah, the terminology definitely suffers from a lot of pop culture baggage. But in the context of ancient energetic sciences, telepathic healing isn't about whispering thoughts into someone's ear across the ocean.
What is it then?
It is about non-local influence.
Okay, explain the quantum entanglement aspect of that, because he explicitly uses that very specific scientific term to justify an ancient practice.
Quantum entanglement is a recognized phenomenon in quantum physics where two particles become intricately linked. If you change the spin state of particle A, particle B instantaneously changes its spin state to match.
No matter how far apart they are.
Regardless of the distance, it could be across a room or across the galaxy. Einstein famously hated it and called it spooky action at a distance because it violates the speed of light.
Right.
Osman is taking this microphysics concept and applying it to macrobiology. He is suggesting that at a fundamental, foundational level of consciousness, there is actually no physical separation between us.
Which mirrors almost exactly what Rick Archer explores on the Buddha at the Gas Pump podcast.
Oh, exactly. Which episode are you thinking of?
He had a really deep episode with Swami Sarvapriyananda discussing Advaita Vedanta, the philosophy of non-duality.
Yes.
The core premise of that whole philosophy is that the idea of you over there and me over here is just a persistent illusion generated by the human brain. There's really only one unified field of consciousness.
And if you accept the premise of a unified field, distance ceases to be a barrier at all. It just becomes a really minor variable.
Wow.
If Osman enters a profound meditative state, perhaps re-accessing that exact samadhi he achieved at 19, he is operating at the level of that unified field. He isn't sending energy across the ocean like a radio wave.
He is shifting the energy at the source.
Exactly. He shifts it at the source, which instantaneously affects the entangled target, whether that target is a human patient or an animal.
It's like cloud computing.
That's a perfect analogy.
Think about it. You don't need the processing power in your local laptop if it's connected to a massive supercomputer in another country. The heavy lifting happens on the server, but the manifestation happens perfectly on your local screen.
Right.
Osman is essentially acting as a bioenergetic server for failing biological systems.
That analogy perfectly bridges the gap between mysticism and technology. But notice how Osman tempers this massive, seemingly godlike claim. He states his success rate is incredibly high, which is why he specializes in critical care. But he does not claim omnipotence.
And I found his admission of limitation there deeply, deeply reassuring. He says straight up he cannot 100% cure everything. He operates in the realm of high probabilities, not absolute guarantees.
It sounds like a specialized surgeon giving you the honest odds before a really complex operation.
Exactly. It builds tremendous credibility. It acknowledges that biological systems are inherently chaotic and complex. I mean, a 90% success rate in terminal critical care scenarios is statistically miraculous.
It's unheard of.
But admitting that 10% failure rate keeps it grounded in reality.
Right.
It really separates him from the charlatans who promise eternal life for a massive fee.
Speaking of fees and the realities of the modern world, we really need to look at who Osman actually is outside of the meditation cushion.
Oh, this is my favorite part of the story, because you hear blind Muslim yogi who reached samadhi at 19 and heals terminal illnesses telepathically, and you instantly construct a mental image.
You picture the ascetic.
Exactly. The guy living in a cave, entirely divorced from the material world, surviving on donations and, sunlight. Our cultural archetype of spiritual mastery practically demands poverty and isolation.
We always assume material success somehow taints spiritual purity.
Right. But Osman completely shatters that archetype. For almost 4 decades, he did not use his healing or his yoga for income at all.
Not a dime.
His actual livelihood, he's a hardcore, high-level corporate entrepreneur. His resume is insane. It includes commercial real estate brokerage, gold trading, premium business services, and handling SBLCs.
Standby letters of credit.
Yes. SBLCs are massive, complex financial instruments used in international trade to guarantee huge payments. On top of all that, he was a corporate troubleshooter, finding resolutions for company and corporations purely from a structural business perspective.
He is basically the yogi of Wall Street. It is a staggering contradiction.
Is it a contradiction, though? Or is it a perfectly aligned synergy?
That's the real question. Look at the underlying mechanics of both of those worlds. The Ranveer show, the Beer Biceps
Oh, yeah,
podcast,
huge show in India.
they frequently host spiritual leaders like Sadhguru or Gar Gopal Das, and Ranveer always asks them how monastic discipline translates to the modern corporate world. And the consensus from all these masters is always that deep spiritual mechanics are essentially just systems engineering.
Okay, what do you mean by systems engineering in this context?
Think about what a corporate troubleshooter is actually doing. They are walking into a highly complex, failing system of corporation. They analyze the structure, they identify the bottleneck where the capital or the communication is blocked, and they restructure the flow to restore the health of the company.
No, that is brilliant. They find the blockage and they clear it.
Now, what is a bioenergy healer doing?
The exact same thing.
Yes. They walk into a complex, failing system, a biological organism. They analyze the energetic structure, they identify where the prana or life force is blocked, and they restructure the flow to restore the health of the body.
It is the exact same high-level cognitive framework applied to two completely different mediums.
Exactly.
Whether he is troubleshooting an SBLC default in the international gold market or an energetic blockage in a dying dog, he's acting as a master mechanic of complex systems.
And this isn't a new idea either. Swami Vivekananda spoke extensively about this in his famous lectures on karma yoga.
Remind me what he said.
He argued that true spirituality is not running away to a forest. True spirituality is maintaining perfect internal stillness while actively engaged in the most intense, demanding actions of the world.
So trading gold while maintaining the energetic capacity to heal telepathically, that is the ultimate manifestation of practical Vedanta.
Yes. The Tony Robbins approach to business mastery is actually built on a very similar premise. Tony always says that your energy, your state management, dictates your financial and structural success. Osman was just quietly running the ultimate energetic software in the background of high finance for 40 years.
But then a massive pivot happens in his life.
A huge one.
Right around the advent of the COVID pandemic, which also coincided with his 50th birthday, Osman leaves all that lucrative corporate troubleshooting behind.
He walks away from it.
He decides to turn his lifelong passion, the healing, the deep ancient sciences, into his full-time career.
It is the classic midlife existential audit, but completely accelerated by a global crisis.
Yeah, Rainn Wilson explored this societal shift heavily on his Soul Boom podcast, didn't he?
He did. He interviewed so many thinkers about the spiritual revolution that COVID sparked globally. People were suddenly forced to confront their own mortality, and they asked themselves what truly mattered.
But Osman is really blunt about the financial reality of this pivot. I mean, he is a guy who knows how to broker commercial real estate. He knows how to extract maximum profit from a system. Yet his stated mission now is to simplify these complex protocols and help society improve their health, peace of mind, and relationships.
And he does this while navigating a very, very complex pricing structure.
Complex, yes, but highly ethical when you break it down. He states clearly that his energy healing service, which operates at a premium master level with high success rates, is not inexpensive.
He charges a premium for the direct intervention.
Right. And you understand why, given the energetic toll and the 50 years of specialized training required to execute it. But at the same time, he refuses to withhold information from the public.
This is the balance. His YouTube channel offers extensive, unique advice, direction, and techniques completely for free. As we mentioned earlier, his 5-minute yoga and meditation program is a free download on yogawellness786.com.
He also offers paid Patreon tiers for live sessions and one-on-one consultations, but the core foundational knowledge is accessible to anyone.
He explicitly mentions using his business experience to make this new career work without, as he puts it, killing people financially.
Which is so refreshing because, let's be honest, the wellness industry can be incredibly predatory.
Oh, completely.
Desperate people facing a terminal diagnosis will remortgage their homes for a cure. Osman has the corporate ruthlessness to monetize that desperation if he really wanted to, but his spiritual framework acts as an absolute governor on his greed.
He charges what the premium energetic labor is actually worth, but he gives the blueprints away for free.
It is a remarkable balance. He is commodifying his time and his specific energetic intervention, but he is open sourcing the philosophy.
And this brings us to the core reason why his intervention is worth a premium in the first place. And it has nothing to do with magic.
Not at all.
It has to do with brutal, relentless discipline, the philosophy of mastery.
Osman is explicitly clear that just having passion or a desire to heal is completely insufficient. You do not heal a terminal illness with good vibes and wishful thinking.
He has been practicing for 50 years, and we really need to look at the sheer volume of that practice.
It's staggering.
He mentions that at certain stages of his life, his intensive, rigorous practice extended up to 18 hours a day.
18 hours a day.
Yes. And even currently, he says he practices a minimum of 8 to 10 hours a day, just quote unquote, sharpening the sword.
For the listener trying to even comprehend that, think back to the Huberman Lab episodes on neuroplasticity. Dr. Huberman explains how the brain literally rewires itself based on focused repetition.
Right. Neurons that fire together wire together.
Exactly. So if you are doing intense yoga and meditation for 10 hours a day for 50 years, you are not operating with a standard human brain anymore.
You have fundamentally altered your neuroanatomy. The neural pathways for sustained focus, autonomic control, and energetic generation have become absolute superhighways.
If you look at the research of Dr. Bonnie Greenwell, or even the older writings of Gopi Krishna on Kundalini awakenings, they describe a literal biological evolution of the human nervous system.
Osman isn't doing parlor tricks. He has evolved his own nervous system to process and transmit much higher voltages of bioelectricity.
Exactly. And yet, despite the 50 years, despite the telepathy, the high success rates in critical care, Osman delivers a statement in the source material that completely redefines how we view expertise.
Oh, I know the quote you're talking about.
He says, not that I'm proud of it, I should have been much better. I'm actually maybe a fraction of what I should be.
It is the Dunning-Kruger effect in reverse.
Explain that for those who might not be familiar.
So, the Dunning-Kruger effect is that psychological phenomenon where someone with zero skill thinks they are an absolute expert. It's the guy who plays 3 games of chess and thinks he can beat a grandmaster. You basically don't know enough to realize how much you don't know.
Right.
The inverse is what we see in true masters. As your knowledge expands, the perimeter of your ignorance expands right along with it. The deeper Osman goes into these ancient sciences, the more he realizes the infinite depth of human potential.
It reminds me of Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO episode with Mo Gaudat, discussing the algorithms of human potential. When you build a complex system, you realize there is always another level of optimization available.
Always. Osman isn't comparing his abilities to the average person on the street. He is comparing his current state to the absolute theoretical limit of what an awakened human system can achieve.
And compared to that ultimate divine limit, 50 years of practice only gets you a fraction of the way there.
It is profound humility, but it's born of profound competence. He isn't selling himself as a finished, perfect deity. He is a practitioner, an elite spiritual athlete who has simply logged more hours in the gym than anyone else alive, and he is inviting everyone else to just start doing the basic 5-minute drills.
Wow. We have covered massive ground today. We started with a houseplant bypassing the placebo effect and dug into the quantum biology of morphic resonance.
We challenged the entire idea of the guru by looking at a novice student who used a simple 20-minute practice to reverse a 13-year-old dog's terminal diagnosis.
We explored the dizzying mechanics of telepathic healing and quantum entanglement, and we mapped the mind of a corporate troubleshooter navigating SBLCs and gold trading, proving that systemic analysis in finance directly translates to systemic healing in biology.
Osman really is a living bridge between the ancient lost sciences and the hyper-pragmatic modern world.
His mission to simplify these complex protocols is exactly what society needs to improve health, finances, and relationships. And again, you can find his free 5-minute program, his vast library of YouTube teachings, and access to his premium services and his Patreon at yogawellness786.com.
Before we close out this deep dive, I want to leave the listener with one final thought based on the actual mechanics we've explored today.
Lay it on us.
We spent a lot of time discussing Osman's 8 to 10 hours of daily practice and the immense energetic field that creates. But quantum entanglement and bioelectric fields are not exclusive to masters. They are universal laws of physics.
Right, we all have them.
Exactly. Every single thought you have, every stress response you harbor, is actively broadcasting a frequency. Osman uses his frequency to force a plant to grow 20 leaves and to pull failing biological systems back from the brink. The question you have to ask yourself is, what is the passive, unregulated frequency you are broadcasting into your living room right now?
Oh, wow.
Are you nourishing the people and the pets in your space, or are you slowly starving them with your stress?
That is a mirror we all need to look into. It changes the entire context of just taking a deep breath before you walk through your front door after work. We'll leave you to chew on that. Keep questioning the boundaries of what you think is possible. Keep exploring the mechanics of the invisible world, and stay curious until our next deep dive.